Good evening. Welcome back to another Sunday night live stream. You're joining me as I am going to be. Hopefully that camera's not going to be focused because it doesn't look very focused. Okay, it's just soft focusing on the microphone. Anyway, I am going to be doing some Necromunda kit bashes, so I hope that you're all going to have fun watching me try and prototype some ideas. I'm not really solid on how I'm going to approach it. I've got the idea for the gang already, but I've not settled in on how I'm going to be doing it. So that's what we're going to try and figure out in this stream. So hello, I am streaming on YouTube, Twitch. I am got my chat for both of them up here. So if you have any questions, as always, please do leave them in the chat, and I will try and ask them if I get to see them. I will unfortunately miss a few inevitably, but I will do my best to view. So I hope you've all had a lovely week since we last did the stream, which was Monday, because the YouTube was kind of going a bit crazy last Sunday, wasn't it? So hopefully we've got a slightly better connection this weekend, this Sunday. Hello to everyone who's already in the chat. There's already a few people chatting already, being quite excited about the Necromunda stuff. I also thought I'd just basically, Yankee's also been our moderator over on Twitch and YouTube, and also in Discord, has been pestering me to do some Necromunda stuff and slowly building an insurrection within my Discord community to do more Necromunda. So I thought I'd kind of get ahead of that and just do some Necromunda content just to appease them for the time being. So yeah, one of the things that I asked Yankee to do, because I have no idea about the rules for Necromunda, to be honest. I have absolutely no, beyond a very vague understanding of what it is and like how the gangs are formed and things like that. I really don't have any idea of what is a good gang, what makes a good composition. So I asked Necromunda guru extraordinaire Yankee to put me together a list. Now, the idea that I had was that I wanted to create my own gang, naturally. And the gang would be one which is essentially almost like a private enterprise that exists within the gangs, within Necromunda, and is essentially a private medical contractor, and their job is to go in and extract people who've paid their contracts and they've been injured, and they go in and rescue them, or maybe they're just kind of like fighting the other gangs, just maybe to make a little bit more money for themselves by kind of causing more collateral damages in the way, stealing things from other gangs, stealing territory to get these contracts. It's essentially a bunch of doctors. If you're familiar with Cyberpunk setting in Cyberpunk 2077, then you'll be very familiar with Trauma Team, and that's basically the gist. Cyberpunk is basically Necromunda, in my opinion. So it's like a less grimdark version of Necromunda. So yeah, it's kind of like a knight, and you'll notice from the thumbnail I use a Trauma Team. So that's basically the premise. It's kind of a highly militarized group of doctors and medics. So yeah, that's the theme I'm going for, and I'm going to try and do something to recreate that. So I asked Yankee to put something together for me using the very loose understanding I have of who Vansar are and what options they have available to him, and he very kindly obliged and put together this list here. Let me just... So I'm just going to hide the image, my little friend here, and get this up so we can see. So the name is just like, I mean, first of all, the name, I didn't notice it when he first sent me this, but at first, and I noticed it was called the Pizza, and I thought that was just genius, because one of the things I actually had was when I'm in Florida specifically, it's not really happened anywhere else. If I'm in a situation where I have to give someone my name for, like, I don't know, like a Starbucks or like a restaurant or something where you require the name, and I'll say my name's Peter. I say it exactly like that. My name's Peter. And for some reason, people in Florida, I don't know if we have any Floridians in the chat at the moment, think that I'm saying pizza. And I don't know why, because it's happened twice on two separate occasions. It's also happened, someone's called me, when I said, what was it, Pete? I said my name's Pete. Someone spelled it P-E-E-T. Yeah, anyway, it's been weird. But yeah, someone literally wrote on my cup pizza. I have no idea why. I don't know how Peter sounds like pizza. I don't know. Anyway, so this is this is there's a sidetrack already. This is the gang that Yankee put together for me very kindly, and this is kind of what I'm basing it around. So it's Vansar. We've got a leader. We've got a champion with the pistolier skill. We've got a champion with the medic skill as well, an Augmech. I particularly wanted someone who had the medical kit and also had the medic skill as well. Then we have a bunch of other gangers, plasma gunner, some Juves, and we also have a rogue doc hanger-on as well. So yeah, it's a really nice thematic gang. So thank you very much, Yankee, for putting this together. And I will be using this as a basis. So I have no idea if this is going to do well in games, but I am all for the whole narrative, fluffy kind of list. I'm not really going to be there. Although, to be honest, I have heard that Vansar can very easily be overpowered. I don't know how. I think someone said something about last cannons. I don't understand it. But anyway. So yeah, this is basically what we're going to go for. And the ideas that I need to have are something which has that aesthetic of almost like militarized doctors, what doctors would look like if they still had the kind of like, again, trauma team. They still have like the typical doctory colours, like the teal and the white and the reds and things like that. But they also had guns and body armour and everything else. So yeah, I'm just going to go and try it and put something. I had a few ideas. They probably won't work, but we're going to try them. And what I'll be doing is I'll be actually doing a full-on... I'll actually be doing a proper video when I come to do the gang. So I just thought I was going to do a live stream now. We can talk about it, we can talk about the gang, we can kind of come up with some ideas together, and then once I've settled on something and probably made mistakes and learned from them, hopefully, we'll have a gang idea that I can expand into a full gang and actually do a full YouTube video over it. So yeah. Hello to everyone in the chat. I've just been waffling for the past 7 minutes. So yeah, we've got Dasmal is in the chat over on Twitch. Hello to you. I think I might have seen Kabuski popping up at some point. So we've got Dare as well. Kermit, hello, welcome. Yeah, lots of people. It's good to see everyone. Also, just going to point out that I have... Kabuski's on Twitch. There we go. I thought I'd seen you. So I've also set up something. So if you join me as a channel member on YouTube or subscribe on Twitch, I've set it up now so you get the correct roles in my Discord server. So my Discord server, anyone can go on. If you just type !Discord on Twitch. I don't know how to do it on YouTube, but it should return the Discord URL. You're free to join it. But if you are a Patreon, YouTube member, or Twitch subscriber, as of this afternoon, because I figured out how to do it, you now get access to the little special supporters channel on there. So yeah, anyway, we're just going to jump straight into it. So the idea that I had was, I put it in my Discord actually. I don't think I've got the picture easily available. Let me just grab one to explain. Hopefully I've got all the right boxes this time. So the idea I had was to use the Leagues of Votan torsos. Now this may not work. I may have to fall back on the Palanitan forces, but if it does work, what am I after from here? That's it. Okay. Yeah, so if the idea does work, it's going to pretty much make the stream very, very quick. So I kind of hope in a way that it doesn't work, so I can explore some of the stuff. But we can try out a few things anyway. We already have somebody asking about the Call of Cthulhu co-host. I'm glad that you have noticed it. Basically, if you watch me on Twitch a few months ago, I was basically trying to remember what a game was. I can't remember what the game was, but I do vaguely remember what the cover of the box looked like. So I drew the box, and I actually thought it was Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance or something like that, but it actually ended up being Call of Cthulhu. So yeah. The idea that I'm thinking is, if you look at so this is a Hearthkin, Leagues of Votan Hearthkin, and if you look at a Astra Militarum, regular infantry, my idea, I don't think it's going to work. It could be terrible, but we've actually got a perfect leg here to try it on. So, the dwarves have got very kind of stubby legs, and as a result of that, you kind of... Nah, actually, you know, thinking about it, it's not going to work. I don't think it's going to work. My idea was, and it might work with a lot of tweaking and chopping, but I don't think it's going to work as easily as I thought, was to essentially cut off the foot of this, cut it off there, cut off the foot of one of these, so we have a boot with like the shin and the foot, and then attach those two together to create a longer leg. Now the problem that I'm going to face is, I think it would potentially work, but the problem I'm going to face is that these legs are in fact a bit more bent than they looked like on the pictures. Now I'm actually looking at them in person, so they would be very obvious that they aren't quite working properly. So maybe we'll scrap this idea. Maybe we'll come back to the weapons. We'll see. I'll go back to my backup idea. That lasted long, didn't it? Avocado, thank you very much for becoming a recruit. You should have access to a little special supporters group, so thank you very much. You also get access to all the other stuff when I've got some more videos coming up, so anything which is any early releases, any ad-free video access, you get all access to that as well as a YouTube member. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. Okay. I think I'm missing a box. It was like the one box that I needed, and I really hope I brought it up with me. Oh dear, hang on. We may or may not have a problem. I might have to disappear for like a few minutes just to... Because I literally... I was bringing in the boxes up, and I packed everything, all of my boxes up to get these kind of boxes which I keep all my bits in, just to make everything more organised and easy to find. And it appears that the Necromunda box, which was going to be like the main thing that I was going to use in this video, didn't make its way up here. So I might have to go and grab that. So that was silly of me. I might have to go and try and dig that up. I might be gone for a few minutes in a second, but we'll see. We'll see. Let me just catch up on the chat for now. The Zuku over on Twitch. Do you have any plans of making any more Tyranid conversions? Also love your work. Enjoy watching your videos. At the moment, there's nothing planned at the moment. There will probably be Tyranid stuff eventually. I find Tyranids quite difficult to kit bash, mainly just because my ideas don't always work particularly well. But yeah, maybe we will. Daz, I'm on the hunt for Vampire Lords from the Zombie Dragon kit for some Pete style conversions at the moment. I was really lucky when I got my Vampire. I think there was just a guy who was he'd built a bunch of Crypt Ghoul, not Crypt Ghoul, the Aberrants on Zombie Dragons, and he just had loads of like the actual normal vampire versions available. So I just was able to snag a couple of those off him, which was quite lucky, really. Have you considered mashing together Steel Helms and Cadians? They seem to be a good match for the size. I haven't tried it. I've seen people who've done a good job of it though, and it does seem to work quite well. I think they're roughly the same size. I don't know if that's intentional, but it seems to be good. Avocado, just as a quick aside, have you thought about using legs from the Corpse Grinder cult? I think they'd fit nicely in the Votan torso. Now, I know for a fact that they would look nice on the Votan torso, because there's someone I follow on Instagram, and I always forget their name. But they've done some excellent stuff with them, Votan torsos and Corpse Grinder legs. I do have some Corpse Grinders. I don't know how many I've got though, so we can try it. We can maybe try it. Again, this is a prototyping session, so we'll see. It's definitely going to need some fillers and stuff. Question, Pete, I had an idea for a Necron kit bash. What parts would work for a machine gun gauntlet with 3 claws in the middle? Sorry for repeatedly asking. Machine gun gauntlet with 3 claws in the middle. I'm not sure. I can't picture that in my head. I think I'd need a drawing. I'm not sure what you mean by the 3 claws in the middle. Maybe it's just me being dense. I don't know. Right, okay. Bear with me. I'm just going to put a Be Right Back on, and hopefully we can we can keep Roxville. That is it. Thank you, Paul Venables. That is exactly who it is. I always, as soon as I see it, I know exactly who it is. But yeah, thank you, Roxville on Instagram. Yeah, really, really fantastic kind of human. I don't know. I can't even describe it, but it just works really well. But yeah, that's the kind of vibe that I'm going to go for in this one. So I'm just going to put Be Right Back on, just while I go and try and dig out that box. I'll be quick as possible. Bear with me. Success. There you go. I don't know how quick that was. I'm sure the time stamp, you will forget the time. I thought it was pretty quick, actually. I managed to go downstairs to the garage. The box was already out. It was just kind of in the middle of the table, which I left all my stuff up. But yeah. Right, so we've got the Necromunda box. What have we got in here? So, right, let's figure out what games we've got. So the irony of it is, the irony of someone who doesn't really do any... I don't think I've done any Necromunda videos on my channel. I did a short, that was it. I have got... To be fair, some of them are the Ash Waste vehicles and things as well, but I've got 4 of these filled with Necromunda stuff, plus some other stuff in a cupboard. I've never done any Necromunda content. So, we have... Goliath could be useful. Van Saar will be very much useful, so I'll keep that. We also have the Paladin Forces, so we'll keep those handy. Lots of Corridor Redemptionists, Ambots, more Palanites, Van Saar. Let's grab the instructions for those as well. Get everything we think we're going to need for this one. Is that Van Saar? Yeah. Oh no, Van Saar's all together, okay. Probably not going to need Delac. I think the stream dropped for a second then. Hopefully it's reconnecting. Are we connected in? Yes, we are. Escher, probably not going to need that. That's more... Right. Redemptionist. Ah, okay. Warlock, Escher, Ambot, Corpse Grinders, weapon upgrades, and more Goliath. Okay. Yeah, okay. I hopefully the stream's back. Right, so let's go back to... is Twitch back as well? Yeah, it is. Cool. Just making sure that everything was back. Here's 4 of these and I am a bit starving. Back from the shops and beginning to build along. Can't wait for Max Tax Squad vibe. Yeah, it's going to be some good stuff. So, yes, as... I've literally forgotten already. How the hell have I forgotten the person's name? Roxville, there we go. Roxville. So have a look at Roxville on Instagram. That's where I follow them. They have done some really cool stuff where they've basically taken the legs from Goliath, not Goliath, what are these guys called? Corpse Grinder cults, and smushed them with Votan torsos, and they look incredible. They look really, really good. I'm really tempted by it, but I don't know if I'm kind of going too far away from... I apologise if you can hear fireworks as well. It is the 5th of November here. Well, it's 5th of November here, but everywhere. But the 5th of November specifically in the UK is Bonfire Night, although Bonfire Night kind of been going on for the last 3 nights. So there's fireworks, there's bonfires, celebrating the foiling of a plot to destroy the Houses of Parliament. To be honest, part of me is just tempted just to build them as Van Saar as well. I kind of like the Van Saar kit. I think I've got a fresh Van Saar kit actually somewhere. Let's see how... One thing I actually don't like is the... I don't know what they're called. I think they're like the lower grade versions of the gang. I don't know if they're the Jews, but these like smaller torsos. I wonder what they look like with... against those Votan torsos. I don't know if everyone celebrates the foiling of it. You should do. You should celebrate the foiling of the plot to overthrow the British monarchy. No, it's just one of those things. It's kind of a strange. When you grow up with it, you don't really think about it. But we basically have. On the run up, it's not so much now, but when I was growing up, it was still a thing when I was growing up as a kid, where people would literally, you'd get some like an old pair of trousers and an old jacket, and you would make a effigy, and you would sit outside in the streets, usually in the high street where all the shops and that were, and asking penny for the guy, and the idea was that you get some money, and the money would be used to go and buy fireworks, and then you would burn the effigy, which was supposed to be Guy Fawkes, but it wasn't usually. It was just someone in an old pair of like tracksuit bottoms and an old jumper that someone just had hanging around and just filled with towels or rags or whatever. And that just seemed quite normal, but thinking about it like completely objectively, it's just such a weird thing to do. Just every year, on one day of the year, we just decide to burn an effigy of a Catholic terrorist. It's just like, okay, that's what we're going to do, guys. That's what we're doing tonight, and everyone gets really into it. So, yeah. Another potential option for the kit bashing could be the Palanite Enforcers. Yeah, so I've got myself Palanite Enforcers. So, candidates that we have so far. We're going to be working on the what have we got? So we've got Van Saar as a basis. That is a Van Saar gang. Makes sense. We can probably go... They're a really nice kind of compact model. So you kind of just literally have like the armor, and you can just add to it really easily. Really, really straightforward. I quite like the idea of Roxville's Corpse Grinder cult legs with Votan bodies. That looks really cool. Again, check it out if you haven't already done so. And then also, yeah, Palanite also works really well. So... Let's kind of put this one to the chat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get this up on, for anyone who hasn't seen. Doesn't know who the Trauma team are. There is actually a really cool model that was made. Let's go for that one. There we go. So this is like a little statuette kind of figurine thing. So this should give you a really kind of strong vibe. So you kind of have the colours that we would expect to be associated with the medical profession, but obviously being used in a very militaristic model. So this is kind of like the guy who's responsible for securing the area, and the guy behind him is in fact the actual person who's responsible for doing the medic stuff. So this is kind of the vibe that I want to go for. So the helmets are really, really straightforward. I can basically just use Van Saar helmets for those little kind of face plates with the eye dots. That's really, really easy. And then if I wanted to do this more kind of blocked off helmet, you just scrape away those. So that's not a problem. There's a lot of fabric here, which is what was leading me down the idea of using either the enforcer bodies or using something like the Corpse Grinder, Colton Votan stuff. But yeah, lots of kind of tactical pouches, all these little cool things that we can add in there. But yeah, that's the vibe that we're going. So for anyone who's not aware of what this is, that's the vibe that we're going to go for. So it's not technically a cyberpunk themed gang. It's the premise. I really like the premise, and I think it works well for Necromunda. So I'm not going to be doing something. I'm not trying to recreate this as such. I'm just trying to kind of take this aesthetic and take this vibe, I suppose, and transplant that into Necromunda and how that would work. So I still want to kind of sit on the side of it being that grimdark Necromunda style, but with this kind of aesthetic intermingled, if that goes. Danky's in favour of going full Van Saar. I think Van Saar probably would make it easier because it means that I have access to all the. Are we back? Yeah, I think we're back. I don't know. We'll see. Seem to have lost connection. Are we? What's going on here? I don't know if you can see me at the moment, but I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with the stream because it's apparently freaking out. Are we back? YouTube isn't okay. Switch to prototype. Okay, I think it's just YouTube having it. Yeah. Okay. Cool. YouTube just having a meltdown. I think. Don't worry. Right. So yeah, I think. It's last Sunday. What is it on a Sunday? Does everyone stream on a Sunday? Is that what it is? So I think the Van Saar stuff is good. I think I really like the idea of doing the Corpse Grinder cult. I think that's going to be a lot of work though, and I'm kind of thinking about doing 8 of these guys. The other option, which I didn't really talk about much, was just sitting with the old Astra Militarum guys. Their stuff is probably a little bit more. How can I describe it? It's less techy, isn't it? It's much more kind of. It's almost a sci-fi version of World War II. I would describe this kind of style as how you have like the gaiters and the tunics and stuff like that. It's very much like 1940s if it was in space. But one advantage here is Van Saar have lasguns, so do these guys. So that's another option. But again, like if you look at the collars, the cuffs are a little bit maybe too ornate for what we're looking for. Not quite as. Yeah. I guess we can just try. We can just try some stuff, can't we? I think that's the best thing to do, really, at this point. You just have to keep in mind that the Rogue Doc is an independent guy, so you can have a single non-Van Saarish looking guy in your gang. Okay, yeah, so that's an option. We can always move into something else with there. Gene Steel cut legs. I actually... So even though I forgot to bring up the Necromunda box, I did actually bring up some Gene Stealer stuff. So I do actually have some. Actually, you know what? As well, look what I've got. I think we've got the Rogue Doc. I think that's kind of that's definitely settled. That's still in the box there as well. I should not even open that one. I think it was. This was like on a closing down sale for a shop, but I basically was like, oh, I can probably use one of those in the future. So yeah, that's a good call actually. Yeah, the Neophyte legs actually would work really well. They have auto guns, don't they? That's the only thing. Yeah. Personally, the Kassakin box will be a better platform to start from, going with the Trauma Team theme. Possibly, actually, yeah, that is a good thing. Let's have a look. Let's have a quick look at the. I do have some of those available. So, this is the first time on a stream that will, you know how, if you watch my regular streams, you'll know how much I enjoy watching, I enjoy scrolling through the Games Workshop website. This is going to be the first time on a stream we're going to have to use the new Games Workshop website, which is not as easy to use as the previous one, in my opinion. There are some nice features. The Forge World stuff is good. I like that. There is significantly quicker loading times in my experience, but it's so much harder to navigate. I think the filters that we used to have on the old one were just so easy to get to. You could zip around really, really easily. Yeah. Oh look, Kassakin is still out of stock. Oh, also the spinny shots have gone as well now. We don't have any spinny shots. So that's fun. Yeah, this is a good option. I agree. So these guys kind of move away a little bit more from. I'm not going to dwell too much on the whole Games Workshop redesign of the website. Again, there are some good points. There are some bad points. That's what I'm going to say. So this could work well for Vansar. We have that kind of techie aspect. We have that kind of. I don't know what I don't know how to describe it. It's not like milsim, I guess. I don't know. Is that the right word? That kind of aspect. And this is obviously the Kill Team version as well. So this has all of the. Have these been released separately yet? Have these been released as non-Kill Team variants? Or are they like those, the Krieg, and you can only get the Kill Team versions? Also, the View All is gone as well. Let's just click plastic. We don't need the Forge World stuff showing up. Yeah, the actual View All button is gone, so I have to keep doing this now. Yeah. Everything's still out of stock though, so it's not made a massive improvement. Check out the Imperial Navy breaches. I do actually have some of those. Let's check those out. Are they on here? Did I miss the breaches? Oh, they're agents of the Imperium, aren't they? They're not technically Astra Militarum. So now I've got to go back to Warhammer 40k, Armies of the Imperium, Agents of the Imperium? Yeah, okay. So I did actually buy a few of these because of the fact that I think they released the boarding patrol box set, which had like a few of these, so I bought a couple of these. Yeah, you know what? I to be honest, again, we're kind of running into that same problem that I had before, but I do think that this kind of aesthetic would work well painted green. This guy, I think this is a perfect outfit. This looks great. The tabard looks, I think, actually hinders that. There's a few options, isn't there? This is the thing. We're kind of very inundated with options here. I'm not 100% sure which to go for. Exaction Squad could work. It does, but again, they're out of stock, and I only have one Exaction Squad. The Exaction Squad are quite kind of like they're cool. I do like them, but I think they're a little bit too knightly in their appearance. Personally, they work really well for work like combining with inquisitorial agents, Sisters of Battle, things like that. But they're not quite as military. Oh look, Warhammer Vault. Deathcore, no, probably not going to go with. Probably not going to go with Deathcore. 2 long coats. What does it have sitting around? I have a lot of boxes sitting around, to be fair at the moment. That's why. That's why. Okay. trying. I'm really in my head now. I'm trying to think about how we can approach this. This is harder than I thought, because I feel like there's too many options in this situation. Then do RBTs match up with Skitarii in scale? I think they do. One of each. Yeah, I think what I need to do is just actually start building something, because I think until I built something, I'm not going to be able to process what works and what doesn't. I think I'm leaning into using Kassakin, though. Breaking his mind over my 8-man warband. Do you see now why I haven't done Necromunda before? Because there's just too many options. I even got someone else to make the... I even had to get somebody else to make the list for me, because I knew that if I actually was entrusted to make the list myself, I just wouldn't have done it. It would not have been made at all. Because I've been, I could have gone for this weapon option. I could have gone for this weapon option. Okay. I just need to commit. I need to commit peak. I've got like decision paralysis here. So Paladin Forces is Vansar instruction booklets. Let's start with Vansar. Let's go for those. Let's build a Vansar guy, and then we can modify. I think this is the most basic approach. If I'm building a Vansar gang, then obviously this is a good place to start off, isn't it? And then we'll do some modifications. We'll do some tweaks and changes. Let's build this guy. Let's see if I've got the bits for him left on the sprue, because I've got kind of a few little bitty sprues. I've got 2 pairs of legs left on these sprues. What have I used them for? Oh yeah, 21, 22, perfect. That is exactly the ones that I needed. We're going to keep it simple to begin with. I've lost the legs. 21, 22. So we'll grab those. I'm not even going to worry too much about removing mold lines either. It's just going to have to go out. This is prototyping after all. We also need 17, 20, and 19. So that's 17. 19. There we go. And then we also need the neck piece as well, which is 20, and that is... So that's all the basic parts required to build the main torso. Let's get some lasgun arms, shall we? 24, 25, 26. Hopefully I've got those, because... nope. Nope. 21, 24. Wait, what was it again? 24, 25. I think I might have used these. This is the trouble. Well, these Vansar arms are incredibly... Next Sunday, try to make House Orlok not look basic. I quite like the basic idea of Orlok. I don't know, there's something... I'd say that... It says 25, 24. Okay, I think we've got it. I'm usually pretty good, so I probably wouldn't have just clipped these random ones off. So 25, 24, 23, and then we should have a hand 26. Perfect. There we go. Done. Right. Okay, so this is the most basic option that we can go for here. There's nothing more basic than just literally just building a Vansar guy to represent a Vansar guy. Obviously, you can repaint them. But I feel like I do feel like this is probably the most boring route, but it does mean it's probably also the quickest one because I'm not worried about getting aesthetic. I quite like that Cassican idea though. I think that works well. It's a nice kit to work with. It's got lots of options in there. It's a kill team set, which means there's probably options for a medic as well, probably. I can't remember. Which just really massively expands out the range of options. But I also like the Gene Stealer stuff. I think my biggest problem with the Gene Stealer stuff is going to be getting something which looks like a las gun, because they're all carrying auto guns. So I might have to do a little bit of tweaking to try and get stuff working together. Just trying to remove anything which is a contact point. I'm not worried too much about mold lines because that's going to take forever. I already spent about, 40 minutes procrastinating on deciding what to do. So yeah, we don't want to waste any more time really. There's the neck. Remove that. And yeah, we'll move these sprue tabs as well. Okay, I think for that we're pretty much done. So yeah, I've used the Van Saar kit for quite a few things. So I did my Van Saar. It was more of a kill team than it was a gang, but I guess I could have used it as a gang. It was basically the Aversa kit, and I painted everything in black. I stuck a bunch of Citadel skulls to the heads and made a few smaller changes and ran them as like it was like an Aversa temple training group. So it's like the Aversa assassins based on that, but they were all either, I wasn't sure, they were all lower in the pecking order. They weren't fully blown assassins. They were more like in training or lower tier operatives or something like that. They weren't the full-blown assassins. Essentially, they were the ones who... My kind of headcanon for them was that they were sort of affiliated, but they were more kind of sent in for lower tier jobs than they were the higher ones. They weren't going around trying to kill Primarchs or anything like that. Look how quick you can build a model if you just ignore mold lines. Honestly, I think if we all just learn to ignore mold lines, we could just all build so many more models. That's a wide stance there. That guy's got a really, really kind of proper power pose. Let's attach these. Pete the Wargamer, can you do 4 Dark Tide conversions, 1 for every class? We got a bit of stream lag. It seems okay from my end, but yeah, possibly we do. Yeah, so the thing is, I obviously did my Ogren Dark Tide ones, and I did that around about the release of when Dark Tide came out originally, and the problem I had with Dark Tide was I didn't actually get to play it all that much, because as I've said before, whenever I joined a match, either the server crapped out and would either just kick me out halfway through the game, or I would end up kind of getting in with a group of players and the server would kick the other people out, so half the team would be replaced by AI right before we were going up against like the level boss. So yeah, I don't actually think I managed to complete more than 2 full missions in that game. Like actually go into a mission and come out the other end. I think the only ones that I did were the ones that didn't involve bosses as well, the ones where you maybe had to collect. I didn't get to do much, put it that way. And I just kind of, lost interest, mainly because there's a lot of bugs still. I kind of wasn't really happy with the progression, but they have no doubt fixed a lot of those issues, and they've also rejigged the class system. I don't know what people's consensus is about that though. So maybe it's better now, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's exactly the same as it was. But maybe I should get back into it. Maybe I should stream it. If anyone else is like, if anyone would be up for streaming it with me, as in just like joining the party, so I actually had like a guaranteed party of people, that would be pretty cool. Right, so that's the basic kind of torso. It's the starting point of the model. Bold to presume they fixed any of that. How long has it been out for now? Has it been out for like a year now? When did it come out? I'd wait till the 30th for the launch anniversary. Oh, okay, yeah, there we go, perfect. It summed it up. Yeah, so that means I released my Chaos Ogren video about a year ago then, roughly the same time. Scanian, you can use cement to erase mold lines. Interesting. I've not tried that. I think every time I try to put glue anywhere that's not supposed to go, I just delete. I just kind of like start melting stuff and monitoring the details. What I'll do is if I put out at some point, I might put something out on my Discord to do a run, and we'll sort out something. It'd probably won't have the voice chat, otherwise you'll just be listening to me talking to the chat. And I probably won't have the voice chat of the party if the party wants it on the stream, just because it's safer. Let's just put it that way. But no, we will probably do something and just have like we'll have some people from my Discord join, and we'll try and run a game, maybe a couple of games. 3 hours, we can probably do 2, can't we? At least 2, maybe 3 if we're lucky. Yeah, maybe we'll try it. Maybe we'll try it next weekend. We'll see. What about game-related models? What about more from Elden Ring? Yeah, no, definitely up for that. I think there's definitely some room for really big kind of custom. That's a cool piece of pouching. Some kind of custom Zinch or Chaos demons based around some of the boss and enemy types in Elden Ring, I think would work really well. So the problem I've got here is the helmets look very, very similar, and I obviously kind of have. I really have to bulk out the pouches because there's far too few pouches. So if we go back to our little trauma team example. So we have a lot of chest pouches. There's some armor down the leg. More pouches. The helmet. What can I use for this? I did say Van Saar, but I'm just wondering if there's anything else. I don't have any Tau helmets nearby. Let's have a look. What helmets could we use that has that kind of faceplate effect? Do you have any ideas for next Space Wolf Demon Prince? I have a few ideas, yeah. They're still kind of being formulated, but there is going to be one. Headwood619, just want to say hi and thank you with a follow. Your YouTube video on painting frost weapons helped my Space Wolf project immensely. I'm glad it did. I really enjoyed that frost weapon because it was just a really simple tutorial, and I've kind of been doing something like that for a while. I thought, okay, it's just worth just showing people, and I think a lot of people enjoyed that as well. It's very different for me as well, doing a painting tutorial that small rather than like a full build or a model or anything like that. Real world medics are often armed with SMGs. You could give them Delac guns, which are very SMG. That's true. Yeah, that is true. Bit more tactical, aren't they? Less kind of Dark Elder rack masks. Perhaps you can make a decent visor helm. Ruststalker heads. I think the faceless helms from the Drukhari range might fit. Admech Sicarian Ruststalker heads. Darktide Ogre conversions is how I found your channel. Well, there you go. We've come full circle then. Back to Darktide. So, I am also limited by what I have in my immediate vicinity in terms of equipment, in terms of bits and parts and things like that. What do we have? What do we have to work with? None of the other gangs really wear helmets in the same way that Van Saar do they? They're very much kind of... I'm just going to wear a hat or something. So I'm just looking at the heads for Van Saar. I'm just wondering what I could do with them, because I'm thinking if I removed the eyes and smoothed that down, I don't think it would move it too far away. So I kind of want to do something which does help with that, though. That's the only thing. I want to choose a head which helps to move away from that overall Van Saar aesthetic. The other gangs don't have crippling radiation problems, so I guess it evens out. That's true, yeah. What do we have to hand? Oh, hang on. How do these helmets look? Let's try a... Is this a... This is a regular... This isn't a subjugator helm. This is just a regular enforcer helm. Let's see how this looks. If I trim down the neck on that one, let me just get this so I can make sure that everything's looking okay. And also adjust the focus so everyone can see. I'm wondering if I trim down the neck a little bit, trim down the helmet, and then bulk up the shoulders, I might be able to get away with that. The head's looking a little bit big, but I think if I put more on around the shoulders, that might help things balance out a bit, personally. Yeah, let's give that a go. Might as well. Maybe add mech stalkers for the heads. Could do. What do I have? Do I have my AdMech handy? Because I'm thinking the Petraxi are quite good for this. Oh, Firefox and face, yeah, cool. 40k, always in the Imperium, Mechanicus, filters, plastic. There's two variations of these, isn't there? There's the sterilizers, and then there's the other ones as well. Just the Sky Stalkers. Let's check those out as well. So sterilizers and Sky Stalkers. So these are a lot more kind of quite techy, aren't they? They've got a lot of that kind of style going on. I do like that aesthetic. That might be good for the Juves, maybe, or maybe like the actual medic specialist. That might be a good option. Quite like the guns on these guys, they're cool. And the stalkers are, yeah, they're more like a visor, aren't they, with a gas mask. These have that kind of gas mask vibe, but it's not as intense. You can possibly cut off the cables and just have them as like vents, maybe. Yeah, that's an option. Have you played Necromunda? If so, is it fun? I have never played Necromunda, but people tell me it's fun, and a lot of people talk about it, and I really like the models, but yeah, maybe. It's the Rough Stalkers too, yeah. Let me just quickly put us back on pause for a second, and I'm just going to double check to see if my admech are close by. Bear with me. Success. We have Scutari boxes. Right. These are a little bit closer by actually this time, which is quite good. Now, did I put them in this box or did I keep them loose? That's what I'm trying to remember now. Okay, got them. Those heads, the scale's actually quite nice, so yeah, maybe these will work. Let's try them. Okay. So, let me get the... So yeah, we've got a couple of the heads here, so that's like more of the leader heads. There's quite a lot of piping going on there. This one's quite a cool helmet. That one looks like it needs an extra piece adding, but it's pretty cool. To be honest, even this one is like kind of quite a nice helmet. I think scale-wise it works as well. You know what, that's not bad. That actually works really well for the medic size. I don't know if I'll use it for every single one, but... you know what? I think it does actually fit the aesthetic. Especially if these guys are kind of like medics, it kind of fits. Yeah. Helps to separate them a little bit out of the original gang. Let's try one of these heads actually on the model. I think that's going to be a good option, and we can decide from there. If you put the last pistol on a rifle stock arm, it kind of looks like a Lasgun SMG carbine. It's a good suggestion. So yeah, if I trim down this pipe a little bit and kind of, it probably needs to be, I quite like the idea of having part of the pipe remaining and just kind of going into the armor. But yeah, I think if the head scales quite nicely, sometimes the problem with Necromunda stuff, it doesn't always scale particularly well with non-Necromunda parts, but this seems to be working quite well. Let's try that. Do the AdMech heads, they look great and did the similar with my Vansar. Yeah, let's go for these. What I'll do is I'll still kind of sit with that techie aspect. So I've got to make sure this can fit properly. So I'm just going to have to kind of slowly and incrementally remove bits. Let's remove to about there to begin with. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, so we need to definitely trim down that neck a little bit. Probably modify the angle of that neck too. So let's just give that a test. Yeah, I think that's going to work quite nicely, actually. Probably a little bit more trimming on the head. But it kind of has that aesthetic I was after. So yeah, this is working quite well. We might try something else later. It's like 8 o'clock at the moment, so we've only been doing this for an hour, and this guy's not far off done. So we'll see. Probably a little bit more trimming there. The head is a little bit high on the torsos. And then quick test, and we'll hopefully be able to glue this into place. Yep, I'm going to stick a little bit of glue there. That should hopefully fill out any of the little gaps. I can always come back to those later on. But yeah, no, it actually works quite well. Quite happy with that. Kind of looks like he's going scuba diving. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that, actually. There's definitely more stuff that needs to go on this guy. More in... I might clip off the sort of backpack he has. I know there's normally these little pipe things that go over the chest, but I think I might remove those completely. Cut this back straight and then stick a backpack on there. Which, actually, if I have my Votan handy, these could be too big, but they could also work quite well. I might need to remove those pipes, but I actually think that would work, personally, as a backpack. Lots of space. I can put some pouches in underneath here as well. Let's clip one of those away. Yes, if I trim down this section here so this kind of fits more against the torso, it kind of gives the model a little bit more bulk, I suppose. Vansar are quite lean, actually, in terms of their appearance. So yeah, if I can bulk out the shoulders and add a few more pouches around the waist as well, I can probably change the silhouette quite a bit, so they won't be as noticeable as Vansar straight out of the box. I think the heads also make them very noticeable as Vansar. Again, the whole kind of trauma team was just more of a... what's the word? It's more like a guiding principle than a complete recreation of it. But yeah, I want to get like quite a techie aspect, quite a tactical, so techie tactical kind of vibe. But that sounds bad. Tactical. Anyway. Hello from France, bonjour, Rudy. Space Skaven idea, the Skaven Express, full of legal cargo. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. There's a lot of cool vehicles for Necromunda, actually, so that would be cool. If you want pouchy Imperial Guard backpacks, might work better. Possibly, but again, I think the only thing is, it's like some of the Imperial Guard backpacks are full-on, like I said, World War II, essentially haversacks, which might not quite work for the vibe that I'm going for, though. I want a bit more of a... I mean, this one's quite good. But yeah. I don't know what else is there in terms of backpacks. I should know this. Most of my kind of pouch knowledge seems to be Space Marine scale, not so much Do you have the Cargo 8 Ridge Hauler kit? I do, actually. Let me remind myself what those heads are like before I go digging. I think on this one, these guys. Oh yeah, they're pretty cool. They would work well. It's a surprisingly handy kit, to be honest. Just having that kind of, you can't really see it very easily, but just having that kind of copula is really useful for a lot of kits, to be honest. In the arms that are kind of holding onto the machine gun. Even the stubber's pretty useful, actually. Just a generic stubber kit. Oh wow, that's really expensive. How many frames? Is that £17 for 2? Oh, outfit up to 2 Munitorium armored containers with 2 heavy stubbers each. So you get 4 of these. Okay, that's not as bad. Tempestus Sign backpacks have some pretty good scale to them. They have a few rolls and techie looking bits. Yeah, they might work better. Let's have a look at those again. 40k, Armies of the Imperium. Astra Militarum. Yeah, they might work well, actually. They're a little bit more techy, aren't they? I do have a few of those. Let me try and dig one of those out. I can't remember if when I organised all of these, if I put Ares Intelligence and put the Tempestus Scions in with these guys, or if I put them in a separate box, in which case I have no idea where they are, so probably won't be able to go and find them. But we can have a quick dig just to see if there is any in here. I don't think there's any in this one. Let's try another box. Hello, sorry, just noticed the raid then. I don't know when that was, but from Kira. Hello, everyone. I am trying to. I do apologise for completely missing that. I was in the middle of trying to figure out bits, ideas. So the problem is I might not actually have the Tempestus Scions handy. They might be somewhere else, in which case I have no idea where they are. There's one more box. They could be in. Actually, hang on. I might have them. Bear with me. I have a tiny little bits box. Tiny little Tempestus bits box. There we go. Now. The question is, do I actually have any loose backpacks in here? I have them attached to people. I have guns, but do I actually have... All I need is one. So I have a Voxcaster. I seem to have a Flamer pack. But I don't actually have any regular backpacks, which is unfortunate. That is a shame. I could always use that and just chop it down as for. Yeah, that's a shame. You know what? Speaking of heads, these guys' heads are pretty cool. That would have worked, to be honest. I actually think that would have worked really well. I think I've seen people use these heads on Van Saar bodies before. But yeah, I think that backpack would work quite well. If I had one, that would work very well. So yeah, if I were to just do a little bit of trimming, trim down the aerials, it gives it a little bit more of a techie appeal. Probably have to remove that. That's a no-go really for. But not sure. This one or this one? What are we thinking? Tempest Sign or this seems too big now compared to this. This seems far too big. I'm really disappointed. I thought I had Tempest Signs handy, but obviously I don't. I don't know where I put them. I must have. You know what? I don't actually ever think they made it into a box. I think they might have ended up somewhere else. They might have just ended up being in a box of stuff. Medicaid pack from the Kassakin. Van Saar Ash Waste upgrade sprue. Heads and backpacks would work. Also, look at Kassakin backpacks. Warlock Ash Waste upgrade would work better than the Van Saar one, oddly enough. Yeah, they are like Forge World resin, but I guess they are designed to work with them. The Van Saar ones look like teenage. Someone pointed out that they look like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The backpacks, they look like the shells, and I can't really unsee it for Van Saar. But yeah, that's disappointing. I'm sad that I don't actually have those, so I'm just trying to organise my bits here because I've got a lot of bits from different boxes. Necromunda, Votan, Necromunda, Ashtamilitarum. There we go. Do you have any Admex Scutari backpacks? I might do. Yeah, bear with me. Oh, actually, I literally have my Scutari box here. There we go. I might actually have them. Do you have a favourite model from the Citadel C27 Chaos Beastman range? Am I missing something? What's C27? I think I know where my Tempest backpacks are as well. I just don't want to, but I know they're really hard to get to, so I know that it will be very difficult to get to them, even if I. And I've already disappeared from the stream twice to get stuff out. Okay, so they're Scutari backpacks. I think they work, but I think they're lacking the size. I think the size of this is a bit more. Yeah, I'm kind of I'm going to stick with this one, I think, because there are some good options in that box set that I can use. Did I put this in the right one? Yes, I did. What else do we have in here? No, they won't work. Do you have any tips on where to get bits to convert a Chaos Marine army to an Iron Warriors look? So, this is something I've been thinking about for myself, about making some sort of... I would like to make a Chaos Space Marine army, but not actually use any parts of the Chaos Space Marine. I spoke about it on stream a few weeks ago at some point. And the idea that I had was to use the Mark III kit, the new Mark III kit that's come out, and use that as a Chaos army, because you can basically make Chaos Space Marines cheaper by using Horus Heresy kits, because they are generally cheaper. You can get special weapons and heavy weapons to match everything up. It's really, really simple to do it, and they're also a lot easier to paint. So I would say, if you want to do a Chaos Space Marine army, and you don't want to worry too much about doing... You want to do an Iron Warriors army, you don't really mind not using official Chaos Space Marine stuff, get yourself some Mark III Space Marines, and some special weapons and heavy weapon upgrade kits, and just build Iron Warriors using them. That's it. Iron Warriors are so easy because they are... You can lean more heavily into that utilitarian. We're not going to go crazy with like the over the top banding and skulls and decorations and stuff. We're going to keep everything plain simple. You can just go heavy with the washes or the dirty down streaking ground or whatever you want. But yeah, even if you're doing 40k, easy peasy. Do jeans still called to have backpacks? You could try those. I don't think they do. I think some of them do, but not all of them. The Mark III kit is really nice. Been assembling a couple of squads this week. Yeah, the Mark III kit is nice. I've got my... I still got them on my desk, actually. I was doing some spinny shots of him earlier. Space Wolf guy that I've got from an upcoming video. Really, really nice kit to work with. Really, really happy with that one. So yeah, quite eager to do something else. I've also got a Stormcast model I've been working on as well. So this is a custom Celestin Prime, I want to say. I don't know if it is Prime. Is that the right rank? But yeah, it's basically based on, you know, the Realms of Ruin game that's coming out. If you look at, I'll quickly show you. It's easier. So the character's name is Sigrun. It's like an Age of Sigmar. It's basically Age of Sigmar, Dawn of War 2. No. Yeah, I think 2, maybe 1. It's kind of like in between 1 and 2. So yeah, this character here is like the main leader of the Stormcast Eternal Warband that you're running. And she is a Celestant, so I kind of needed a female Celestant model, and there isn't one. And obviously in the picture, she's equipped with an axe and a short sword, and there isn't a model that's equipped with an axe and a short sword, or a full cape. So I had to basically get the armor matching as closely. So you can see I've got the shoulder marking here. The only thing I've done, actually, I've just noticed a full-on mistake. I've actually done the lightning bolt somewhat wrong way around, but I think it still makes sense. Anyway, but yeah, I've given her a cloak, and I've also painted the cloak blue and completely. It's based on. It's not an exact representation. I'm trying to find a high-quality picture of this one. But yeah, this is that's the model that I've based the design on, and then that's the actual model. I'm just gonna make sure the focus is right on that one. So yeah, quite happy with it. The lightning is from the Skaven Warp Lightning and the spells. But yeah, I haven't really done any Stormcast Eternal kit bashes for a while, so I thought I'd just do something new. So this is the Battle Power Packs. Trim off the floor and add some back bits. I think they're a little bit too bitties, I think. There's too many little spikes and fleur-de-lis and stuff, but I think it would work quite well, but maybe. Space Wolf Head is from one of those special Forge World units. Well, the video will explain it all, but the premise of the video is to kit bash Space Wolves without using any Space Wolf bits. So everything that's on that model has come from a non-Space Wolf kit. Because I feel like if I'm doing a video and it's like, oh yeah, you can kit bash Space Wolves by getting a Space Wolf kit and then taking the Space Wolf bits and putting them on the Space Wolf model to make a Space Wolf. It's kind of obvious. It's like saying, oh, if you want to make a cake, go to the shop and buy a cake, and then there, you've made a cake. It's a pointless video. So I've tried to do everything without actually using anything from Space Wolf kits. So there's nothing on there from a traditionally Space Wolf kit. I think beyond the decals, I think that's it. Everything else is either generic or another kit. But yeah, anyway. Bro, you can Space Marine your Space Marine with Space Marine parts. Basically, yeah. I've done it in the past, so I'm not trying to dunk on anyone else who's done that in their own videos on YouTube. I'm not trying to create beef, but I've done it in the past, and I kind of feel like it's kind of pointless in a way. Unless I'm doing something really kind of outlandish, like, oh, here's how you can turn a demon prince into a Space Wolf. That makes more sense. But if I'm taking a Space Marine, a generic Space Marine, and trying to say, oh, you can say you can represent Space Wolves and just use Space Wolf parts, it kind of defeats the purpose. But yeah, anyway, back to what we were talking about, which was this backpack. I really like Tempest Assign idea. I think that's going to work well. Based on the other backpacks I've seen, I think this is going to work quite well. It's going to fit the aesthetic. I'm definitely going to cut off these aerials though. We have no need for those. We're going to trim those down. Carrick, you've just convinced me to go ahead with my Space Wolf army with the new Horus Heresy army box. It is really, honestly, I'm really a big fan of the new Horus Heresy. A lot of people said they don't like the Mark III, but having built the stuff and painted a couple of models using it, so obviously this guy as well that we did in the stream, I haven't got any further with him. This is the new Mark III armor as well. The shoulder pads aren't. The shoulder pads are old, but the main torso is the new Mark III. But yeah, really, really happy with that new model, with that new range of Mark III upgrades. I really hope that there are rumors. I've seen people talking about rumors for a new Mark that is being worked on at some point to be released for Horus Heresy. And it would make sense because we seem to have had, we had a new one last year. We had Mark III this year, although it does seem to be a little bit later than what we got it last year. But if we got another Mark III, another Mark armor, that'd be great. I would absolutely love to see 5. I think a few people have been saying 7, which would be interesting. It will also fit in this kind of the time scale that we seem to have the Horus Heresy happening in. But yeah, 5 would be great. I would love 5. I would quite like to see a 7 because that's like proper. The Space Marine kits, the original non-Primaris 40k Space Marine kits were mostly Mark 7 with a few little bits of like Mark 6 thrown in here and there as well, weren't they? So yeah, I think I would personally love to see Mark 5 would be the best. Then Mark 2 maybe. Mark 2 or Mark 7. And then I'm not too fussed about Mark 4. I don't know. There's something about Mark 4 which is kind of good, but I don't know. It doesn't do much for me. It's kind of basic. I'm just doing quick cuts here. I'm not worried too much about getting really, really neat finishes. Okay, it's coming together a little bit more now. I've trimmed everything down. It looks a little bit more put together, which is good. Yeah, it's kind of coming a little bit more together. So I'm going to have to do some trimming here. So probably flatten out this surface first. I think that's the biggest thing. I'm just going to try and clip as much of this away as I can. There we go. That was not as even as I'd like, but we can trim that down. And then I'm just going to... Where's the file? Where's the file? Have you ever made a miniature to resemble yourself? No. I don't think I have, no, actually. A few people have asked me that before. I've never really fancied doing it. I don't know, I think just a generic guy with glasses and a beard doesn't really translate well to translate to looking good on a miniature. And I think it's possibly one of those aesthetics as well, which just doesn't... It would probably end up being quite out of place. I think if I was going to do anything, it'd be more like someone who represents my character, or at least what I do, my kind of Pete the Wargamer general aesthetic, some sort of tech priest or something like that, I think. So there's a little bit of a gap here, which isn't ideal. It's workable, but it's not ideal. I probably have to fit something in there. Let's trim this down a little bit more. We've got a little bit more wiggle room here, so hopefully we can... Mark 5 is sort of a mix of all other kits, isn't it? Yeah, so Mark 5 is basically... It's kind of not... It's not a mark, but it's also a mark as well. It's very much lots of other... It's kind of a catch-all term for a lot of haphazardly put together pieces of armor during the heresy. So there are elements of other marks of armor, there are reinforced bits, there are kind of ad hoc in the field manufactured crude pieces of armor, bits of armor that have been fixed and repaired so that don't really resemble the armor that they started out with because the resources required to rebuild the armor weren't available. So yeah, it kind of doesn't have an official production. If I'm not mistaken, I mean the rules the law could have changed, but I think my understanding of it was that it was essentially, it wasn't really like an official mark, but it was just like the name of a very kind of rough and ready put together armor, which is actually what a lot of Chaos Space Marine armor ended up being. If I'm, at least originally, things have changed, I think. Well, I think as the more loyalist legions transitioned into Mark 6 and then Mark 7 and then obviously Mark 8 in some aspects, the Chaos didn't really have access to that, so theirs were these cobbled together pieces of Mark 4 and Mark 3 and what kind of ended up resulting in a Mark 5 aspect. David E., what is the general idea behind this model that you're kit bashing? So this is essentially a prototype for an idea of like a medical orientated Necromunda Gang. I have never built a Necromunda Gang. I have bought lots of kits for the various different Necromunda gangs and stuff like that, and I've used lots of parts and things like that, but I've never really gone to the effort of straight up building a Necromunda kit bash. So yeah, I had a lot of people in my Discord suggesting that I do. Yankee. So I thought, yeah, it's probably a good time to do it. It's a kind of a good opportunity to step out of my comfort zone and do something a little bit different. So, yeah. Do you think we'll ever get Saturnine Terminators? I don't know. It's interesting, isn't it? Because we had two new Terminator variants. We had Cataphracti and Tartarus. And Saturnine is one of those ones which is... It's kind of referenced very vaguely, isn't it? It's not like an official... It's not as well known inside of official 40k than it's outside of in the community. So, I don't know. It would be interesting to see Games Workshop's take on Saturnine armor. Because the Saturnine armor that we have is based on some very old kind of sketches and maybe models, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah. Wasn't Indomitus armor available during the heresy? I'm not sure, actually. It's an interesting one because because Indomitus is the Terminator armor, isn't it? It's like what if you think about Terminators, as in the new Terminator Space Marines, that's what Indomitus. Am I getting confused with that? I think that's Indomitus, right? Right? Yeah, it is. I think it is. I'm not sure now. But the Chaos Space Marine Terminator armor looks like Indomitus. Now, you can understand, you can make sense for the kind of the idea that it's maybe captured versions of that and it's been repurposed, but I think there should be, yeah, Indomitus is the Terminator and was available. Okay, that makes sense, because yeah, Chaos Space Marine armor is very much just Indomitus, because I would have imagined it would mainly be Tartarus or Cataphracti. But yeah. Interesting. So I think this is kind of coming together, actually. I think it just needs more pouches, to be honest. The basic shape of the model. So I think let's go back to our original guiding force for this. So this guy doesn't really have much in the way of shoulder armor. The bulk comes mainly from... It doesn't even have a backpack, actually. But yeah, there's a lot of pouches around the bottom there. There's this picture as well, you can see for the game. Pouches around the waist, pouches around the lower back. Okay, so we need more pouches, don't we? That's the long and short of that. Okay. Black Lord Terminators Cataphracti, yes, you are correct. Yes, they do. And I guess the Thousand Suns are kind of like Tartarus, aren't they? If I'm not mistaken. They're quite close to Tartarus marked. So we have a few pouches on here, but I'm inclined not to necessarily use those. Now, one of the things which I'm surprised by is that the Cadian kit doesn't have that many pouches, because most of the pouches are sculpted onto the body, so there's not really many separate pouches anymore. They're all physically attached. I want to have some heavy armored guys and lightly armored guys as the actual medic. Yeah, that was the plan, really. I think they're all going to be based on the same kind of structure, but maybe the medics will be more visible. As I think there's also, I think Yankee also made it. So if we go back to the list, let's go over the list that we were looking at again. So the leader is mesh armor and armored body glove with a plasma gun. The champion is a pistolier, so has 2 hotshot las pistols. So the champion is Orgmech, which has the Medicae kit and the Medicae skill. This particular person is going to have to look more like a medic, aren't they? They're going to not necessarily be as heavily equipped, because they're only armed with a las pistol and a power knife as well. We have a gang of specialists with a plasma gun, and then the rest are Juves. So yeah, these 3 Juves as well. They're a little bit more lightly armored as well. They don't have the mesh armor. So yeah, we can probably do something to represent that. Maybe in the heads, maybe, I don't know. Maybe in the equipment, make them look a little bit lighter as an option. So I'm just like zipping around this list incredibly quickly here. Yeah, okay. So I think long term, I think this idea that we've had so far actually works pretty well, because it's still based on the Van Saar, but it is also its own thing. I think I just need to source some parts, actually, some pouches. Old Cadian pouches would work here. They're within size and have some extra bits can be added. Space Marines are quite a few big pouches, but maybe too big. Yeah, I think Space Marine pouches are too big. I actually have a couple here from the last model. So these are admittedly the larger of the types, but they're not bad size, actually, to be fair. It's just a case that you can fit maybe like 1 pouch on there. Yeah, maybe Space Marine pouches would work. Don't have the Space Marines available though, they're somewhere else. Wow, what kits have pouches now that I can use? it's hard now because there's so many kits which don't have. So I've got my palette. There we go. I can use these. These have got quite a few good pouches. And where are the subjugators? Because they have really good pouches. If I can find them. I think I've used quite a few of these already in other builds, which is probably why there's not as many on this sprue at the moment. Okay, I've got almost a completely clean sprue. Okay, I've used a lot of these pouches actually. Yeah, I really like these ones. These are cool, like the chest pouches. Those would work well. Yeah, there's a few different, so we can use these. I do think another good option would have been to use these guys as well. So maybe we'll explore that next. Not as many pouches as I thought, actually. Surprising. As a former medic in real life, I would suggest pouches on the thighs. We do store a lot of diagnostic stuff there. There you go. Thank you very much for the real world input there. Yeah, so if I stick a couple of the bigger ones around the thighs, and then maybe a couple around the back just to kind of fill in that gap, because I think that gap's looking a little bit too... Yeah, that'll help to bulk out that a little bit. Yeah, probably a few smaller pouches around the waist there. Primus Phobos chest pouches are pretty small from Reavers and Infiltrators, they are. Pouches from the Mark 6 kit are slightly smaller. Okay, do I have many pouches in here still? I don't think I clipped them all away. I had a few, but not all that many. Tempest Sign have quite a few pouches on the sprue. Yeah, hopefully I've got some in this then, because I don't actually have the box for the Tempest Signs. Oh, these are cool. These are really cool little pouches, actually. I'm glad I've got a couple of those. I don't know what they are, but these are like little... But I've used these quite a few times to represent little medical kits. There's quite a few of those in that box. So I've not got all that many in here, unfortunately, but we might be able to get away with what we've got so far. Yeah, there's no more pouches there. Krieg medical bag might work too. The Krieg medical bag, again, it's very much like an old-fashioned doctor's bag, isn't it? The Dalek have some good pouches. We do have Dalek handy. That's Escher. Oh yeah, he's that breaching charge that I actually wanted for the last week's video. If you remember, I was looking for... I was really annoyed because these were in the garage and these are perfect. These Orlok wreckers. They're like really cool pouches. And what's that one? That's a cool bag. I like that one. I don't know which this one's from, but we're going to use it. We're going to try and see if we can get this attached and workable. Oh, okay. Is it the... Yeah, it's from like the exoskeleton, I think. If I can position it in a way, because it's got little straps here. If I can position it higher up. That looks correct. I think that looks okay. The little straps are kind of hidden a little bit. Maybe this side, I don't know. I think this side might work better actually. Yeah, I quite like that one. Let's go for that. Anything in the old BT's kit? Probably, yeah. There might even be something in the naval breaches as well, actually. Mark 6 pouch and grenade combo bit, just remove the grenade. Yeah, I think I have some somewhere. I'm not sure where exactly. I don't have any in my bits box for my Horus Heresy stuff, but I definitely have some of those handy. Because it's the same stuff that you get in the new Mark 3. They just haven't changed anything else in regards to the little accessory sprue. So the Nuncio Vox, the Vexilia, the bayonets, they're all pretty much the same now. Yeah, I think that, like I said, this is mainly a prototype, so if it doesn't work, if it's not perfect, that's not a big deal. Okay, and then let's go for one of these, and yeah, let's remove that Aquila. I can actually use the word proper Aquila this time, because this is an Aquila rather than, actually, is it? It's not got the double-headed eagle. It's whatever it is. I don't know. I always forget the names. There's one of the Aquila is one with the two-headed eagle. And I think what is this, the Imperialis or something like that? But can someone play Skaven Necromunda? I guess you could have people of rat mutants and call them Skaven. Yeah, I think so. I think I've seen people run. There's like different. You can have gene sealer cults, can't you? You can have like an infected gang. So yeah, you could run them as gene sealer cults and just say that they're, just model them as Skaven and just say they're gene sealer cults, because you can even have a few of the mutations, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, don't take anything I say in terms of Necromunda rules at face value, because I will entirely admit that my Necromunda knowledge of rules is very, very thin on the ground. Very lacking indeed. Could do the pouch around the front here as well, actually. Maybe a bit too big, them ones are. Might need a smaller pouch, we'll see. Do you have the Euclidean Star Guys from Kill Team? The medic there might be a good source, as would the Gene Stealer Cult Doctor maybe. Yeah, so I think I do have those, but I'm just going to save some of them, like the more one-off parts, because if I come to do the gang properly, which I am kind of liking where this is going, I'm going to save the good parts for those. But yeah, I think it works quite well. I think it's going to look quite good. But yeah, there's going to be lots of bits that I can use that I don't have an awful lot of, or as easy access to. Should we stick them on a base? It gives us a better idea. Where are the Necromunda bases? There we go. Is that one trimmed? Yeah. Makes it easier to hold the guy as well if it's actually on a base, rather than just floating in the ether. Yeah, I think, to be honest, it's not super heavily converted. There's obviously a different backpack, there's a different head on there, but the arms, legs and torso are all the same. A few of the pouches, I can add more. I definitely want to add some more around this waist here. I think it's a bit too kind of open at the moment. But yeah, I think as a kind of a proof of concept, I do think it works quite well to use Van Saar. Like I said, it's not, I wasn't trying to completely recreate that cyberpunk trauma team aesthetic. It was more just something that I can use as a starting off point. But I think the paint scheme will also do a big thing for these, to be honest. I might need to do something on the shoulder. I might just have to add the Van Saar shoulder pads, because I feel like the shoulders are looking a little bit too... Maybe I could just add one, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Let's try it. There's possibly different options I could use for these as well. Possibly. Right, where are we? There. I think that looks better with, to be honest. I think the armor helps to bulk out things a bit. Okay, where are we there? And yeah, if we pop that there, I don't know if there's anything else we can use. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but maybe... I've been thinking about using the spare van braces from the new Horus Heresy Mark III kit as alternate Van Saar shoulder armor. Do you have any to hand? Yeah, I think I do. Hang on. So the good thing about that armor is that it's not actually used on anything. So if you're just building regular guys using the arms that come in the kit, and you're just building things like the regular bolter guys or special weapons, it only really comes into play when you're building the heavier weapons. But you just end up with loads of these. You end up with like 10 of them. So yeah, if you can, let's compare that with the shoulder pad. It's not far off, you know. It's not far off the same size. It's a little bit more rounded, I say. Let's just clip one off and then attach it. I'm not going to use this, but yeah, this might actually work as a good idea. Let me get my tweezers. It's quite fiddly. There you go. So yeah, I think size-wise it works. Definitely works. Gives them a bit more of a heavier industrial feel, I think. Can I get that balanced? To be honest, I'm quite liking that. I might steal this idea. If I put it up like... Yeah, this actually might work. Yeah, I think I'm just going to steal that idea. Thank you very much. Dread Pirate Dan over on Twitch. This is why it's good to prototype with an audience, because you can kind of get you can get immediate suggestions and feedback. What else has come from this? Tempest's backpack was audience. I've not done anything here. I've literally just been. I feel like one of those TikTok NPCs, but a little bit more involved, though, I'd say. But I've literally just been sat here taking audience suggestions and just gluing it to a model. I don't think I've come up with any suggestions, any ideas on here, to be honest. Oh, I found the Orlok Wreckers pouch myself. That was about it. Yeah, I actually really like that idea because it kind of it bulks out the shoulder, but then it also because the torso, the upper. I'm not an expert in this by any stretch of the imagination, but whenever I've seen people talking about it on YouTube or on TV shows or whatever, whenever someone's talking about getting camouflage and the why ghillie suits work and how they can be used to work, is they basically work on breaking up the profile of a human. So like this kind of profile of like a torso and a head, you can have quite an abstract appearance of that, but it still is recognizable as a human. And part of the idea of camouflage is to break up that silhouette as much as possible, so you don't have that recognizable shoulders and head. And to a degree, whenever I'm trying to build miniatures and I'm trying to make miniatures look different from the base models I've used, if you follow a similar principle, obviously not trying to camouflage them in like a forest or anything, but if you can modify your model in such a way that the torso, the upper torso and the head look different from the base model, you can actually do a lot to modify that model and how it looks. So yeah, there you go. I think I'm quite happy with that. The arm's not attached very well there, to be fair, so I'll have to, when I'm doing this properly, I'll make sure. But no, I don't know, quite like that. The Mark III forearm armor as shoulder pads actually works well. It kind of helps to separate the guy out from the original base kit. The pouches also, again, work to break up that silhouette slightly. The head is different. The backpack is... Well, it has a backpack to begin with, but I'm quite happy with that, personally. Yeah. I actually quite like that style. I'm very tempted to kind of go ahead with this one. I don't know how much of a difference I could make with Power Knight and Forces, personally. Honestly, I think it would work really well as really good as an Astra Militarum jump troop. Well, I guess in a way that's kind of like... That's kind of the direction that I wanted to go with. I just wanted it to look like it could be like an Astra Militarum unit. And like it would be a very kind of specialist regiment or something like that. But I think I think it does. I think it kind of has that idea that if you ran this as, obviously you have to build a lot of them, but if you ran this as like an Astral Tauren regiment, it would make sense. Well, yeah, I'm quite happy with that. And I did it in only 2 hours. We managed to do it, guys. Well done. We went through quite a few different aspects of it. I tried to use Votan, didn't work. Let me try and find the picture that I used. So I basically did a very, very quick, very, very terrible Photoshop edit. I don't know if Kabuski's still in the chat, but if you are, this if you've seen Kabuski's other work, you will know full well what kind of caliber you be interested. I actually have a couple of Kabuski stuff here. So this is mine. This is my take on it. It looks so bad. So it was basically, it didn't look too bad. The knee situation. If you were at the beginning of the stream, you will be familiar with the idea that I had for the Votan, and basically chopping off Cadian legs and sticking them, chopping off the Cadian legs, chopping off the Votan legs, and just like sticking them together to make like fully long-legged Tall-Tan, I think I called it, and then sticking a Van Saar head. This was my initial idea, and I'm kind of glad I didn't go this. Yeah, I don't know. There's something weird. I think it's the arms. I think the arms are too stubby compared to the length of the legs. I've increased the length of the legs, but then kept the arms the same, so it just doesn't look right. It looks completely out of proportion. I'm using the Brokia Iron Master bit, and it's working on the exact same Van Saar model. Nice. The last gun looks like a very jump trooper. Yeah, it's very similar to the, if you remember the Elysian drop troopers, the old Forge Wheel ones. They had kind of these bullpup style ones, which this is very much reminiscent of. I'd also recommend trying a Delac torso, chopped off above the belt onto some Palanite and Force legs. Makes a very cool flak uniform. That's a good idea. For a helmet, would a Sisters of Battle helm or Skitarii Vanguard helm be out of the question? Yeah, it does look like a Centauri. That's a very good observation, Cavman. Laser Sharkman, for a helmet, would a Sisters of Battle. So, they look very medieval. When I've used them before, do I have one handy that I can demonstrate? No, I don't actually have one. But yeah, when I've used them before, I don't know, they don't seem as... They do have that kind of Salet helm style. With some modifications, I could have done something maybe, but I think... Yeah, I think the Skitarii heads, the Ruststalker heads, not the Ruststalker, the Sicarian heads, were a good choice in the long run. Very happy with that particular choice. Maybe a tail visor helm cut down to be more human. Possibly, that could also work. I have done that, experimented with that idea before in the past. So I tried to make some human tail people, whatever they're called, Grey Vesa. And the idea I had was actually use Van Saar bodies. And I don't know if I still have the model. I don't know where I ended up in the end, but the basic premise was to I used the Van Saar body, and I used one of the Pathfinder heads for the Tower Pathfinders, and they have a really kind of like big, pointy, over the top biking helmet, kind of like a high speed cycling helmet designed to them, and it just looked terrible. And it was also really hard getting the rail rifle working with the arms. It might have worked with a little bit more work, but I don't know. I kind of give up on it in the middle of the project. So Unfortunately, it never saw the light of day, but I learned a few things, and I've used those going forward. Any good ideas on kit bashing Elysium drop troopers or something similar? It's a tricky one, really, because they are very much their own thing, because they have like the quilted suits, don't they? There's a couple of them, isn't there? There's the Harakoni Warhawks, which never got models but were a mentioned one. They're a bit more heavily armoured. You could probably get away with Kassakin and do something with that. Maybe modify their backpacks to look more like grav shoots. But yeah, the Elysians were very, very much like light troopers, and they had like a quilted flak armor, if I remember correctly. I don't know what direction I'd go with that. That's kind of a little bit more trickier. Harakoni Warhawks would look really great using Kassakin and the Orlok Wrecker jump pack. Yeah, they would do. It's just a shame there's only 4 in that pack. I think it'd be great for a kill team. I think you could do them as a kill team and it'd be more feasible. If anything else, I think you're going to be struggling personally. I think you'd have to buy a lot of Wrecker kits. Excuse me. Just yawning. But yeah, to be honest, I think that was pretty much all I wanted to achieve in the stream. So I do appreciate everyone who has come along and kind of helped to achieve that. It's definitely going to be... I'll probably go away and think about it a bit more, but I think if I'm going to be doing any more... If I eventually get around to doing a Necromunda kill team, this is definitely the direction I'm going to go. I'll remove that picture because that is not the direction I want to go. This is the direction I'm looking to go. I'll probably refine it a little bit, maybe tweak things a bit. But yeah, there's definitely kind of the kernel of an idea there that we can build upon for future. Now I'm thinking this is a possibility for a Centauran-themed Xenos army, probably as some Tower Auxiliaries, maybe with some modified Eldar helmets, yeah. Little blue soldier potatoes. Avocado, I prefer my kit bashers for kill team Necromunda Inquisition 28. Yeah, it does make things far more financially viable. If you this is the great thing about kill team, and it is a good thing about Necromunda as well. Is that you do have much more of not only expense but also time. Time is very difficult for a lot of people to come across easily, and having to build an entirely kit-bashed Space Marine army or entirely kit-bashed Imperial Guard army, especially like a Horde army, is very difficult. But if you can just do like a little snapshot 10-man team, it's so much easier. So what I'm going to do, I'm probably going to start thinking about wrapping up the stream tonight, because I've done what I wanted to do, and I feel like if I do anything else, I'm kind of just, my head's not really in anything else at the moment. I feel like I've achieved something, and I want to end on a high and not do anything else and get bogged down with it. So I am going to kind of devote this next part of the stream for the next however long people have questions to ask. If you have any questions, if you have anything you would like any advice on, now's your time to ask it. I will answer the best I can, and yeah, just kind of crack on. I will be here for a little bit longer. I'm just trying to tidy my desk up. It's covered in just random bits at the moment. So, but yeah, feel free to ask some questions if you need any advice or help or anything like that. Why not work on some of your Raptors? The only reason I haven't is just because all the bits that I need for my Raptors are elsewhere. I'll have to just disappear for another however many minutes just to dig them out of the garage again. So that's the only reason why I wouldn't work on the Raptors. The problem is usually you perfect the kit bash by the 10th man, and the first looks like he was a low budget $6 man by comparison. Yeah, what is that? It's called something, isn't it? It's the art. It's the thing where, as you're working on something, you kind of get better at it as it goes along. What's that? You get better at working on something as you go along. So by the time you finish the project, you could do a better job if you started it again. So you kind of end up not being happy with the final result because it wasn't as good as the first one. The last one that you did was usually better than the first one that you did, or if you did it again. I don't have a question, but thanks to you, I'm brave enough to just put my knife in a €30 mini and make it my own. I mean, that's the biggest thing, really. The only if there's anything. Sorry, I'm just trying to tidy up a little bit here. If there's anything that with these streams and videos and things like that achieve is just to give people confidence. And I think sometimes just seeing someone else do something first is enough to make you think, okay, well, that is possible. Because trust me, as you don't really see it as often. I do like to share them, especially on these streams, a bit more. But the amount of mistakes I've made, the amount of times that I've started on a kit bash and I've had this idea and I've worked on it and the parts just didn't fit together properly, the scalings weren't right, the finished aesthetic just didn't work, and you kind of want to get, you are getting something out of that one, but it wasn't, you're getting the knowledge of what works and what doesn't work, but then you often feel like it's a bit of a waste of time. Like for me, it's my job to do this, so I don't mind that. I'll get that information and file it away for next time. But if you're someone who maybe doesn't have that much time to do the hobby, or maybe doesn't have as much money to play around with kits and stuff like that, if you invest in a project and you buy your components and you buy everything else and those components don't work, then that's suddenly a waste of time and a waste of money. And the idea of it is I make the mistakes so that you don't have to do them yourself, or I try to kind of direct you in ways where you're not going to make mistakes. So yeah, that's kind of the main thing that I try to do with the channel. It's not always even about specific advice. Sometimes it's literally just about offering a general idea and saying, look, you can take this part and you can use it for something else, and just trying to get other people to think about how they can use parts differently in their own builds. Tom Williamson, if you ask that Harbinger of Decay question again, I will answer it. I am in question mode at the moment, so I have missed it, I'm afraid. Yankee, currently my hobby depression where I can't even convert my enforcers, they are all stock right now. I mean, sometimes you don't always have to. This is the kind of... The problem that I face as well is I really struggle just to build stuff as the kit intended. I think I've kind of got it into my head that I do so many conversions. If I had to build an army that wasn't converted, I think the closest I came to a non-converted army was when I did my Horus Heresy Force last year. And I'm still really happy with the army. I still just did a few little mini conversions here and there, and I'm actually still really happy with the army itself. And sometimes it's nice just to not have to worry about doing a conversion, to just build it as the instructions intended and not have to worry. And I do probably need to do that more in the future, personally. There's no mistakes, there's only future Chaos Corrupted minis. Yeah, definitely. Like how Kill Team is small in scope, have you got any interesting Warcry teams in mind? No, I think that's just because my knowledge of Warcry is also pretty low, so I don't really have as much in the way to offer in regards to really interesting ideas. My hair is like really high. I went out this morning quite early, and I think my hair was still a bit wet, and I put a hat on because it was cold this morning, and then my hair is just kind of increased in volume about 100%. No, Warcry. I haven't. I would like to do something. I really like the new Stormcast Eternals Warcry kit. It's like actually a really nice kit. Lots of multi-part options in there. So yeah, maybe never say never. Nothing at the moment, but never say never. Let's take a question from Twitch. Malsure04. Could you suggest a way of getting a part I've managed to lose after clipping it? I have tried eBay but can't seem to, as whole kits of sprues. I can't get bits from Games Workshop. Oh, I gather you can't get... No. So, it's a little... So if you can, all I'm going to say is, this is a completely unrelated thing that I'm going to say, but if Games Workshop have got a very good customer service, and if you buy a kit from Games Workshop and there just so happens to be a component missing from that particular sprue, Games Workshop are very good at replacing those sprues. Now, I'm not saying that if you've lost it that you should do that, but if you ever open a box of models and it doesn't happen to have all the components there that you require because something's fell off the sprue or has somehow gotten lost, then Games Workshop are usually pretty good at replacing it. So that's just a completely unrelated bit of information. Otherwise, depends where you are, where in the world you're located. There are a few places which sell bits. Bits Box is very good. I use them. There's Megabit Shop as well, but they kind of seem to only ship to Germany and the EU, Germany and England, the UK. So I'm not sure where to go for international. Bits and Kits is also good for UK. I've not tried them. Any ideas for Iron Hands Dornian Heresy cooking? Not yet. There's not really much in the pipeline for Dornian Heresy stuff. I think my next focus heresy-wise is finishing off the Legions. I was waiting for the Mark III kit to be released to do those. So I have the Space Wolves video is... I'm trying to remember the order I'm releasing these. I think either the Space Wolf... I've got 2 videos coming out this month, guaranteed. Space Wolf and Stormcast. I can't remember the order, but yeah, there's going to be a Horus Heresy one in there. I would like to maybe get another Horus Heresy one, because it's Imperial Fist, I think, is the next one. Yeah, it's Imperial Fist. That's a good Mark III kit to build with. So yeah, there might be another Heresy, official Heresy, but I'm not sure about any Dornian Heresy. There might be, never say never, but there might be some ideas brewing in the background. If the new Taurus Venator isn't a plastic kit, then I'll give my Enforcer project up and focus on my squats, which are also stock only right now. The Enforcer Venator, what is that? Oh, the is that what was in the book? Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting really, because it's, I don't know, there's a good chance, isn't there? There's a good chance. Let's get this picture up for everyone on to see what we're talking about. Speaking of Elysians, Firefox and Face. So yeah, this is this vehicle. Oh god, why's it? I just look at the image. Why isn't it just like opening the image? Why have I got to have the whole of Reddit open at the same time? Okay, there we go. So yeah, hopefully my face isn't blocking that. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because we've obviously had a few. So let's go to Necromunda and let's have a look what we're talking about here. We've had a few plastic vehicles, haven't we, for various things. Let's go on ash wastes. There isn't an ash waste section. There isn't a vehicle section because they messed up the filters. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So this is like the generic one, the Ridge Hauler. Obviously, Orlok have got these. There is also... Why is... Okay. I'm just going to go and show all because it's easier. So the Orlok guys have got the Trikes. Van Saar have just had the Arachna rigs released. Ridgewalkers. The Cutters. There's the Goliath ones as well, isn't there? Goliath Maulers. So it's interesting, isn't it? Because that kind of vehicle is, it's not too big. It's the squat vehicle that's being released is quite chunky, isn't it? It's quite big. Yeah, it's hard to judge. Really hard to judge as to what it would be. It could be both. It could equally be both, to be honest. I think the biggest thing is, will it be £30? Because everything else seems to be about £30 in value. The Arachnorig is. The Ridgewalkers are. The other thing was, the Cutters are 30 quid. Goliath Maulers are £30. Obviously, this is very UK centric, but we've got to think, if you get one in there, is that the same as like getting two of the Maulers in terms of size? What's the equivalent? 40k maybe? Space Marines ATV? How much is that? £30. It's possible. It is possible, but it's not. If we go to unit type, let's have a look at unit type of filters. Vehicle. Plastic. Doesn't really narrow it down much, does it? Trying to think of similarly sized models and how much they would be priced at. It'd be smaller than a Sagittar, wouldn't it? Achilles Ridge Runner is about the same size. It's £35. Yeah, possibly then. Possibly. It really depends. I think I think the Ridge Runner is probably the closest, I would say, in terms of scale and size to that. Yeah, I think there's definitely a possibility. There's definitely a possibility there. Hey Pete, can you unleash your magic to make some decent Katachian dudes one day, perhaps? As a quick fix for that, I would just say, just grab yourself some of these Space Nam War Games Atlantic. These are my models, actually. Just throw that out there. These are actually the ones I painted. It's just my box photography. Yeah, I didn't draw that though. Someone else who's this Ornris Trurency is very good at doing this kind of artwork, much better. But yeah, he based this on the models I painted. But yeah, these are pretty good actually. These are a plastic kit, pretty decently scaled for Games Workshop kits as well. Still have that Katachian aesthetic, but a little bit more kind of crisp, I guess. They have some good options on the sprues as well. There's flamers, sword, bolt, pistol equivalent. There's a sniper, plasma rifle equivalent, grenade launcher. So yeah, it's not a bad alternative. Obviously, you can't use it in like anything officially Games Workshop, but if it's just you and your friends, it's a pretty good option. Any thoughts on converting the Harbinger of Decay model into your 40k Nurgle army? Any ideas on how you might do it? So the Harbinger of Decay, that's the guy on the horse, isn't it? I'm going to say that was very quick loading. That is very, very quick loading. From me literally pressing enter, it's practically instantaneous. So you are asking Tom Williamson. How you convert this into a model for a 40k Nurgle army? Okay. Right. Well, first of all, let's go to the Nurgle army, because that is going to give us the best idea of what we can proxy it as. Probably Demon Prince is the first thing that comes to mind. I think if you popped it on a big enough base, what size base is this? This is a 60mm round base. This is on an oval base, but 90. Yeah. So the fact that it's on a 90 by 52, you can probably squeeze that onto a 60 by 60 oval base and just run it as a Demon Prince. I don't even think you need to convert it. I think you could just literally run it as is. If you really wanted to, you could possibly put in some more, like maybe swap out the head for more of a Death Guard helmet. There are a few kind of more power scythe variants you could use here as well. So how does a weapon attach now? I think there must be a attachment here somehow, because you can see the blend there. So where are they? Do the Death Shroud have? Yeah. So you could swap out the top of the weapon for one of these. I think there might be a spare one, but yeah, easily kind of run that as a Demon Prince. If I saw that in a Nurgle army as a Demon Prince, I would be more than happy to accept it personally. Chaos Necrons, aka Men of Iron. How would I do it? It's interesting, really, because they're quite, in a way, Necrons are pretty much a blank canvas. There's not an awful lot going on with Necrons that couldn't be easily modified or removed, especially from the base models as well. First thing I would do is replace the heads with Citadel skulls. I think that would be the first thing that I'd do. And then the most obvious thing that comes to mind is just to give them spikes, I guess. Just spike them up, I guess. That's the only thing I can really think. Oh, this is another thing I've noticed with the website as well. Obviously, all these kind of little spinny shots are missing. You can't really see it easily on the stream. But if you do this yourself, if you accidentally click on any of the little servo skulls where the spinny shots would be, it actually breaks the page, and you can't select any of the pictures that do work. So yeah, bit of a bug there. Yeah. As a very much basic kind of approach to that, I would just literally swap out the heads with skulls, shave off the Necron symbols, and just go for some spikes, I think. You could use a Skitarii mechanical horse head and give the rider some more mechy bits. You could do, yeah. I think the kind of the aspect of that Harbinger, the horse is very kind of corrupted, so it could work as like a demon mount, in my opinion. How do you spell the name of the Tau auxiliary you made? Scrav Eok. I'm guessing you mean that one. Let's pop it in here, the chat. Scrav Eok. There you go. I did the two. I can't remember what I called it. It was the... What was the second, guys? What was the second? I've written it in the script for the video. I have to get it up now. What? What's the script now? Where's the script gone? Can't remember. How would you turn the wild core dogs into more cybernetic dogs? I just get the Orlok ones. I think I just keep it really, really straightforward and boring. Oh, hang on. Oh yeah, it's working. Yeah, because Necromunda ones have got them, haven't they? One thing I need to do when going through the Necromunda stuff is make sure I do the plastic, because there's so many non-plastic models in the range. Yeah, they have these cyber mastiffs. So I mean, you could use those. I mean, you could use the bits from them, definitely. There's like a cybernetic head and there's some cybernetic legs as well, I think, if I remember rightly. In there? Yeah, there you go. You can see in there. How would you make a black dragon marine? Oh, I've been asked this a few times. I would... Personally, I would... Let's see if they sell them on here now. 40k. No, it's not 40k. It's Horus Heresy. Loyalist Space Marine Region Salamanders. I would get these heads, the Salamander Mox 6 heads, use those because they're really cool, and especially like the non-flamey ones. And then for the kind of bony growths, I think the most obvious thing that comes to mind are Hormagaunts, not Hormagaunts, it's Termagants, isn't it? Hormagaunts, Tyranids. Yeah, I think if you clipped off the bladed forearms, I think you could do some really good stuff with those, personally. They would work really well as like elbow protrusions. But yeah, I think kind of keep it nice and simple. You don't need to do a lot for them. You can lean more into that kind of salamander aspect if you want to. But I think if you have those kind of, buy a box of Hormagaunts, sorry. How many did you get in here? 10. So you get 10 and each one has got 4 claws? No, 2 claws. So it's 20. It's 10 Space Marines. Sorry, Yankee. I kind of just didn't really realize that you're the person who asked me. You want to use the Wildercore Hunter dogs. I mean, to be honest, I would do. I don't think I would make it more complicated than it has to be, to be honest. I would literally just use bits from Necromunda. I don't think it needs to be any more complicated than that, personally. Go to eBay, get some secondhand Hormagaunts from, yeah. These are probably running around. A load of people who've bought the new box set have probably got tons of these hanging around, probably just looking to get rid of them. So yeah, that is a good suggestion. Thank you, Twitch chat. Any idea on how to make Nurgle-infected Tyranids? Ooh, that's an interesting one. I think the most basic principle of that would be probably basing it around the bugs, what are they called? Puscoils, something like that. Let's go on Age of Sigmar because I know it's on here. If you go for... Nope, not Death. Chaos. Maggotkin. So not those guys, not these ones. The more kind of demonic stuff, I think, would lean to it. Probably a few parts from the Beasts of Nurgle you could use. Some of the bigger guys, you could use some of these like larger creatures. Lots of really cool components. Plague Bearers, lots of cool parts from that. You can have some like the stomachs. I've used the stomachs really well with like Sylvaneth models, so there definitely is some options there to use with non-human shaped models. But I think in terms of bug aesthetics, these you really can't go wrong. If you look at a lot of these kind of parts, they're all ball joints as well, so the wings work well. To be honest, you could probably swap out the heads for some like Tyranid heads and just run these as like Tyranids infected with like a Nurgle plague. I think that might work. Right, I think I'm going to wrap things up there. So thank you very much for everyone who has. We'll have a quick final look at the old prototype from this video. So thank you very much for everyone who helped me come up with some ideas for this guy. Yeah, quite happy with him in the end. It is kind of the aesthetic I wanted. It's also Van Sar as well, which I think makes sense because it's going to give me access to all the weapons and equipment you can have for Van Sar, so I think that works quite well. Needs some refinements, definitely not perfect as is, but I think as a basic jumping off point, as like a just like an ideas board, I suppose, like a physical version of an ideas board. I think it's going to be work really well for that. So yeah, thank you very much for everyone who has joined in the stream. I will probably be back to do my Raptors next weekend, I think. Yeah, Raptors will be next weekend. I'm also hoping that there will be what's the date next weekend? I think there's going to be a video next week as well. I'm not sure now. I'm not sure if I'm getting mixed up with my dates. Should be another video next week as well. I know it's been a while since I did. I've done a video. It was at the beginning of October. But I have basically just been working on the Kickstarter project, and that's hopefully going to go live soon as well. So yeah, lots of cool, exciting things to come before the year's out. And I'm going to be finishing off those videos over this course of this week. So there's going to be the first one. I can't remember which one it is. It's either going to be the Stormcast next weekend or it's going to be the Horus Heresy. I can't remember. I think it's the Horus Heresy. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I can't remember what my I completely forgot what my timeline is first. But anyway, thank you very much for everyone who has joined over on Twitch, on YouTube, people who've subscribed, channel members, everything like that. If you are a member, don't forget that you are a YouTube member. You also get access to all of my videos early when possible. It's not always possible, unfortunately, but I do always try to put them up a little bit early if I can. They're always ad-free, so I don't include the sponsored segments. I run them without monetization. Whether or not YouTube decides that it's going to run ads, even if I've chosen not to run it with monetization, I don't know. But yes, same as if you're on Patreon. If you are a YouTube member, if you are a Twitch subscriber, if you are a Patreon member, you also have access to that special Discord group. And Yankee has left the link to the Discord. So yeah, please do come over. Lots of cool people in there. Lots of people talking about Necromunda as well. So if you like Necromunda, check it out. And I will be back next Sunday with a video and a stream. So yeah, thank you very much everyone for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.